But what was that experience like for you when you first moved to Texas?
When I first moved there, I was nervous. I was scared. Like I said, I felt like I was one of the top guys here, but I didn't feel like I was growing. I didn't feel like there was anybody, and it sounds weird when I say it, but I didn't feel like there was anybody that much better than me that was going to teach me the things that I needed to know to get better. There's always things that you can learn, but as far as like being in the ring and performing, I felt like, yeah, I'm pretty much on par with everybody else. Like, no one was bringing in like super top names to come work with me to teach me more things.
There's no doubt. You have to work with guys better than yourself to get better.
Exactly. So that was going down there. I knew I'd get a chance to work with Ray and a lot of the guys that he was hanging out with, and those guys I felt like were better than me. So I needed to go prove myself, go find an opportunity down there and create something for me, and that's what I did.
You worked for Booker T's company down there.
I did.
And, I mean, surely there had to be things you picked up and learned there.
Mm-hmm.
What was that experience like for you?
That was awesome. Booker runs a great school. He runs a great company. And one of the biggest things that I learned while there was the difference between just normal TV and, like, if you were going to WWE TV and what they want. And the just small details here and there of why you do certain things, when you do certain things, how you should do them, how you can change that to fit your style if that's what you want to do, and to just sit under that learning tree, not only at Booker's, but I got a few chances to get into the ring with Stevie Ray as well, not only in ROW but in Wildcat Sports down in Louisiana with Luke Hawks, who also runs a hell of a promotion. Those chances and being in the ring with those guys just opened up other things that I hadn't even thought about, and it allowed me, like I said in the previous thing, to be better and expand my game, and be able to grow the character.
I just want to check the year. It looks like 2015 is when you first got your first dark match with Ring of Honor. I mean, how did you feel at that time? Did you feel like this is going to be it? This is going to be my big break that really opens someone's eyes, or were you sort of a little more patient waiting to see what happens?
I was hopeful of that, but going into it, I was as ready as I thought I was going to be. But then afterwards, once I got the critiques and things of that sort, realized, okay, I need to be a lot better than I am. And so I made sure I hit the gym two a days, 3 a days with Ray. We were killing ourselves, and he was going above and beyond even what he had to do because he wanted me to be ready, because that's my best friend in the world, that's my big brother. So he wanted to make sure that I thought I was ready, and I kept going back, kept having matches, kept impressing, kept improving on each thing they told me, which is another big tip. If you go there and they tell you to fix something, fix it.
Is that a problem, guys?
I mean, like, I think guys maybe just take themselves too seriously, or don't, like, they're telling you that for a reason. They're telling you that because maybe they have an idea if you fit the image that they want to portray. So if they're telling you, hey, put on 10 pounds, put on 10 pounds. If they're saying, hey, maybe you should lose a few, change the gear, do what they tell you to do. It shows that you're coachable, and it shows that you're willing to listen, and that's half the battle.
So when you first really got things rolling there, you were teaming with Keith Lee.
Yes.
What was your impressions when you first met Keith?
Keith Lee is an absolute incredible athlete. He's a hell of a performer. He does things that leaves people's jaws on the floor. And there are things that the traditional wrestling guy will say, he's a big dude, he shouldn't be doing that. And so we had those amongst each other, we had those convos like, maybe you don't have to do that dive every match, like, you know what I mean? But that's what he likes to do, and he's a guy that kind of does his own thing and performs the way he wants to perform, and which is the most fun for him, and it's taken him to the very top of our industry. So proud of him.
You spent some time at Ring of Honor as a non-contracted wrestler, and then finally, I think it's
going on my second contract now, the middle of my second deal.
So you were signed in January of 2016. Does that sound right?
2017.
Okay, so
yes.
January 2017. I mean, what did that mean for you, and what did that mean for even your family at that point?
It was validation for, up 9 years of hard work at that point. Once I printed it out, I sat there for like a half hour, not even like joking. I sat there for a half an hour and I read it and I reread it and I saw my name and I blinked to make sure it was my name, like, you know, checking everything, like this has got to be a joke, but no, this is for real, like this is mine. So signing that and sending that back in and talking to Ray, it was an emotional day. It was a proud day. I made sure to give my dad a copy because regardless of the money, like it was an accomplishment that I wanted him to see, to know, like, because he's been very supportive throughout this, you know, even when it wasn't good money, you know what I mean? For him to see, like, this is what it was all for. This is now we're starting to get where we want to get to. So that was a good day.
It wasn't long after that, you and Keith Lee, who had you know, were doing pretty well. You guys were getting on TV regularly. Things seemed to be going well for you. And then Keith Lee leaves. Were you upset with Keith at all?
I wasn't upset with Keith at all. There's part of me that was disappointed only because we had goals that we didn't reach. There were goals that we started as a team that we wanted to reach. And anytime you set goals and you don't meet those goals, you're like, that sucks. But that was the gist of it. Like, once he told me the circumstances and the situation and the opportunities that were available to him, I told him, hey, your job is to do what's best for you, what's best for your family, whatever is the best opportunity for you. My job is to be a star with or without Keith Lee. So that's what I have to do. If we do it together, great. I'm all for that. If we have to do it separate, that's fine too. The goal when we started as a team was for us both to get jobs doing this. That was accomplished. So as far as I'm concerned, we reached the major goal that we wanted.
You've had a great 2017, 2018. You've got to work with a ton of guys that are very well known. So some of the guys that you've worked with in the last year and a half that are your favorite guys to work with?
I mean, getting to work with guys like Jay Lethal, Jay Briscoe, both the Briscoes actually, getting into the ring with guys like Minoru Suzuki and Lance Hoyt, Hiroki Goto, Evil, and like just so many of the international guys and guys that have traveled the world and made a living doing this for so long, that again, guys that I feel like are better than me, that when I'm in there with them or as we're, you know, as I interact with them, I can see like, okay, there's definitely different levels of this that I need to get to, and that is what pushes me to keep striving for that, because I want to be the best. I want to be the guy that 10 years from now they look back on my era of Ring of Honor and they go, that was Shane's era, just like they do with Joe's era, with Danielson's era, you know, with Cole's era, whoever it is. I want them to go, that was Shane's era. And with the stars that we have now, for them to be able to say that was my era is something that, you know, that's a major goal.
So you talked about some of the guys you've really liked working with. Maybe not in Ring of Honor, but in your 10-plus year career. Who are some of the least favorite guys that you've worked with? Maybe you don't need to name names, but maybe you can say why some guys you don't enjoy working with.
There are some guys that just take themselves way too seriously, and a lot of those guys tend to be guys that have never actually gotten into a fight in their life, and so they take their character, which you should take your character seriously, but I think they start to believe the hype. And I go, dude, in reality, I'd probably just beat your ass on the street and we'd be done with this convo. But you know, you have to play the game, and you can't let thoughts like that manifest themselves. Otherwise, you stop working. So guys like that in general are guys that I just don't really care to work with, because they're usually more trouble than they're worth, and it's just all around better for my sanity just to not even.
You got to know there's guys and out in this world that, you know, Marks or even some of the boys that don't like you.
Of course.
They'll troll you. They'll talk about you. What are some of the things that you've heard about yourself that you feel like maybe isn't fair?
Well, I mean, life's not fair, so I don't really care about fair. But with the weight loss journey that I've been on and just getting my body the way that I want it, there's always comments about that. People, oh well, you have a bad look, or I just don't get the character. And once again, I go, my job is not to give you a character that you can just look at and go, okay, well, I see him as this, so this is what he's gonna be. I'm gonna be me. Whether you like that or not is up to you. It's not gonna change my thought process. It's not gonna change the work that I do. It's not gonna make me lose sleep. I don't give a shit. If you don't like me, fine. That's great. Cheer for the other guy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But as far as I'm concerned, any attack on the way I look, any of that shit is all kid stuff. If you got a real problem with me, you want to say something to me, all my dates are public. Come find me. Come say what's up.
So I don't want to pretend to be the expert on all things Shane Taylor, but I think I know you well enough to know you're not content with where you're at now, as far as, you know, my knowing you well enough to think that you probably, and you've mentioned it already, that you want this to be your era. So how do you get from where you're at now to where you want to be?
Just keep putting in the work. I mean, like you said, like, people always see a grinder, and that's what I do. I work and I grind, and the things that I do may not be flashy. And in today's world of short attention spans and everybody wanting dunks and 3-pointers, I am, you know, defense and transition, and I'm the guy that is I formation 5 yards of carry. You know what I mean? That's me. That's what I do. Is it pretty? No. But is it effective? Yes. So for me, it's just continuing to put in the work, keeping my attitude straight, keeping my head on straight, and just continuing to work harder than everybody else in the room, put on performances that are better than everybody else's. And when I'm outperforming the guys that either make more than me or have higher spots than me, eventually there's going to come a time where people start to question that. Well, if I'm putting in the work and I'm doing all of this and they're making more, why are they making more? Or if they have that spot, well, why do they have that spot if this guy's outperforming them? So once you create those questions, then we'll see what happens. But I'm going to continue to put in the work, and that's all I can do. You know, if anything more than that is out of my control, I'm not even going to worry about it.
Next week, you're wrestling Cody. Now, I know the cliche answer is
just Cody. Just Cody.
Just Cody, okay. I don't know who that other guy is. Just Cody. So you're wrestling Cody next week. I know the cliche answer is to treat every match the same. But is it, I mean, can you really? I mean, this isn't the same match. I mean, this guy's been the Ring of Honor champion. He's been on television for 10 years plus. I mean, he's a huge star and a big deal. How does that amp you up differently than, say, wrestling in Podunk, West Virginia? Let's step away from wrestling for just a brief minute. You have a 3-year-old daughter.
Yes.
How has being a father changed you as a person?
It's no exaggeration when I tell you it saved my life. Not just because of the weight loss things. I didn't have any health problems, but I know my mentality. I know the things that I was doing. I know the person that I was and how hair trigger I was at times. Having her now makes me think and rethink situations. I'm already living a blessed life because I shouldn't already be here because of things that I've already done, things that I've already gone through. So to live through all of that and have her now is a blessing for me, and I just try to make sure that I don't waste that. So her coming along and being that extra motivation to get up and go to the gym, to get up and do the things that I have to do, to not take days off. She she's made me more of a man in 3 years than I was the other 29. So no matter what I do for her as she gets older, I can never thank her enough, and never will she understand, the thing that she's already done for me.
I mean, we've covered a lot, but what's next for you?
What's next is I go whoop Jack Pollock's ass tonight, or whenever this airs, it will have been June 9th. Then I go whoop Cody's ass next week, and then we'll see what happens from there. But Shane Taylor is going to continue to do what I do, and that's continue to prove the world wrong. And I'm going to keep, conquering the challenges in front of me. I've done it for 32 years. I'm not stopping now.
Well, we've covered a lot. Not everything.
Yes, not everything.
But we've covered a lot. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
I want to thank everybody who's bought a T-shirt, who's bought an 8x10, who I've signed anything for, who I've wrestled against. This guy right here. This is the man right here. Right there. Go get it, ROHWrestling.com.
As soon as you advertise that one.
But for real, anybody who along this journey helped me to get to where I'm at, I can't thank you enough. Everything that I have now, everything that I'm trying to get, you all had a part in. There's nothing that I can say or do that's going to repay that, so I can only just say thank you. Your motivational speeches, when we were in West Newton, that pumped me up so much to go out there and perform like that. Those are things that I think about to this day. Taking the time, because those are things that you don't have to do, but they're things that you want to do because you want to get the best out of the guys that you work with. Those things mean a lot to me personally. So I just want to say thank you to you. Thank you to everybody who has been a part of this journey. We are nowhere near done, and we've got a lot more to do, and I can't wait.
This has been really great for me. I really appreciate it. I cannot tell you how happy I am for your success. I mean,
my man,
this is great. So I'm going to close on this. Guys, girls, please stop having shitty matches. You're ruining my life.